Hi, I'm Uriel and I'm responsible for the coordination here at Magen David Adom together with Australian friends of Magen David Adom. As we reach this time of year again, the annual gala where usually we would all come together for an evening, usually me or someone else from Israel would be with you at the gala in Australia, in New South Wales together. This year is different. Like last year, we're doing it online. So for those who don't know, here's a little bit about Magen David Adom, Israel's national EMS organization. Our MDA teams who work and live in coexistence with our Jewish, our Christian, our Muslim volunteers and employees work together to save lives here in Israel. This year we've reached 91 years of Magen David Adom. We're celebrating it in delay, as last year we weren't able to celebrate due to COVID. And this year we've had a few extra challenges which we didn't deal with in years previously. To start off with COVID, Magen David Adom received the responsibility from the Ministry of Health from the beginning. If it was opening hotlines, phone calls, which we're receiving, if on a general day we'd receive 3,000 calls a day, here we're receiving up to 86,000 calls a day from civilians, and we were the front lines, the one answering their questions, the ones enabling them to go and get tested. During COVID, Magen David Adom was responsible for testing. We tested over 5 million people. We were also responsible for treating and transporting to hospital those suffering from COVID or suspected of suffering from COVID. Our teams would go fully protected using special equipment which we purchased specifically for COVID and transporting them to the hospitals. Israel was the first country to vaccinate all of the elderly care facilities, the old age homes, the sheltered facilities, and this was enabled by Magen David Adom, which vaccinated in every single facility across the country within a matter of weeks. All of Israel's most vulnerable were completely protected with both vaccines and able to see their grandchildren, see their families, and to live a life which they hadn't known for the previous year. Each country has dealt with COVID in a different way, and each country has been affected by COVID in a different way. I know it's been a challenge in Australia, going from lockdown to lockdown and not being able to leave, not being able to have events. It's been a big challenge. Israel deals with another challenge as well. And every few months, every year, every couple of years, we have another military operation when we're attacked by Gaza. And this year was no different. We had Operation Guardian of the Walls, where rockets were fired at Israel on Jerusalem Day towards Jerusalem from Gaza. Magen David Adom was prepared ahead of time. We were prepared with ambulances, with our volunteers, our motorcycles, and once the war was declared, we went into full operation. Magen David Adom, as always, was prepared, but this time was different. We were fighting a war on multiple fronts, whether it was in Jerusalem, whether it was on the Gaza border, whether it was on the mixed cities across Israel, Lod, Akko, Jaffa. We were facing multiple threats. We were treating multiple scenes and a variety of scenes. And here, we felt the difference. Magen David Adom teams came under attack, ambulances were destroyed, all while trying to protect and to save those who were injured. During the last round, 12 Magen David Adom ambulances were severely damaged and 1 motorcycle. This is damage which we've had to replace, we've had to repair. It's been very, very costly, all whilst trying to save lives. Magen David Adom teams were treating whilst risking their own lives under fire, if it was from rockets, from rocks, from stabbings, from all other kinds of violence. They're risking their own lives in order to save those of the innocent civilians. And this is where Magen David Adom needs you. During the 11 days of war, over 4,500 missiles were fired at Israel. Magen David Adom treated 12 people who were killed and over 600 people who were injured during the war. Using the ambulances donated by all of our friend societies, and I'm sitting right now in an ambulance donated by New South Wales during the 2020 emergency COVID appeal, which has been in service for less than a year and has already treated almost 1,000 people. It's already touched and reached the lives and the hearts of 1,000 people who have been saved thanks to the generous support of our donors around the world, and especially to our donors sitting in New South Wales. So on behalf of our 30,000 volunteers and employees, most of which are volunteers, who want to save lives every single day, I'd like to say a big thank you for all of your support and for your future support in purchasing new ambulances which will be used here in Israel in order to save lives. So on behalf of all of us, thank you. I'd like to say a special thank you to Bob and Ruth McGid, Bob is Magen David Adom New South Wales patron, and to Nora Goodridge for all their support over the years and for their very, very generous support this year as well. I'd like to give an extra special thanks to Tony Ziegler and the Australian Friends of Magen David Adom New South Wales board for all of the extremely hard work which they put in throughout the year behind the scenes in order to make the office run and to make sure that we can continue doing the work which we do here in Israel. Last but not least, a special thanks to our dedicated office staff, Rivka Lazarus, Tamara Lobir, Tippi Jacobs and Jody Isaacs, for all of the amazing work done behind the scenes in the office and with the connection between Magen David Adom Israel and Australian Friends of Magen David Adom, which enables us to work and to get your vehicles on the road. So from all of us here at Magen David Adom, thank you, and I hope you enjoy the evening.